Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. You're watching Question Hour, a unique show where we get you questions and queries raised by the members in the upper house and replies given by the ministries and the departments. I'm host Rajat Kain. I'm joined by my colleague Kriti Mishra.
Thank you so much, Rajat, and I hope that all our viewers are keeping well and adhering to the social distancing norms in view of the coronavirus pandemic.
Well, that's extremely essential for every viewers who are watching this program. And also, we are here to apprise you as to how parliamentary proceedings play important role, and especially when answers are given by the ministries and departments which are in public interest. Now, there are broadly three categories of questions: starred, unstarred, and short notice questions. Starred questions are the ones where answers are given by the minister or the department itself on the floor of the House.
Whereas unstarred questions are those questions of which answers are given in the written format by the government. And this show of ours focuses on all the important unstarred questions asked by the members of the upper house in the last session of the Rajya Sabha. So Rajat, let's begin the show.
Well, the first question of this edition of Questioner that was asked member Ragesh from Ministry of Human Resource Development, or the HRD. The member sought what are the objectives set by Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan towards ensuring education accessible and achievable for children with special needs. Now, whether Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is able to properly fulfill its objectives. If so, what are the details and what is the state-wise status about accomplishment in ensuring enrollment, infrastructure facility for accessibility and academic facility for children with special need achieved under the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan?
While giving an elaborate reply to this question, the government says that Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was operational till the year 2017-18. And now this stands subsumed in integrated scheme for school education, Samagra Shiksha, effective from 2018-19. The Samagra Shiksha scheme covers children with special disabilities or with one or more disability as mentioned in the schedule of disabilities of the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016, studying in government, government-aided or local body schools. Now, under the above mentioned scheme, infrastructure, that problem has to be overcome to a great extent. There are 15,79,650 such schools enrolled under Samagra Shiksha at elementary level in government and government-aided schools. And with regard to removal of infrastructure barrier in schools, out of 11,68,292 governments and government-aided schools, 8,33,703 schools have barrier-free access for differently abled children. And also, the curriculum and textbooks have been adopted to ensure accessibility, and teachers have been sanitized to transact the same in an inclusive environment. And this is a very pertinent question asked by member Ragesh, and member Ragesh is joining us through virtual platform to speak to us about his question and the answer given by the government. Mr. Ragesh, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, and thank you so much for joining us. Sir, you've asked a very important question, and as you know, our show focuses on the important unstarred questions asked by the members in the last session. Now, talking about the last session, you've asked about Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, and the government says that Samagra Shiksha is effective from 2018-19, and also the fact that Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan that was operational till 2017-18 now stands subsumed in this particular scheme. Your take on government's reply?
Well, the 86th Constitution Amendment was made in 2002, and it had mandated that every children in our country within the relevant age group have got a fundamental right to free and compulsory education, quality education. And subsequently, Right to Education Act was enacted in 2009, and it had set a target for ensuring quality education for all the children in our country. So as to ensure the target, it is extremely important to spend 6% of the GDP on education, and hence it is utmost important to ensure 10% of the central budget on education. But unfortunately, if we look at the figures, the budgetary allocation on education has been drastically reduced. And last year, if we look at the GDP, only 2.6% of the GDP is provided on education, and that is the ever lowest GDP spent on education. The draft new education policy, as we all know, it has made lot many rhetorical statements saying that the objective of the new education policy is ensuring global standards. But what is the fund allocated for that? Is there any plan? If there is any plan, you look at the budgetary allocation provided on education. So right to education, as we all know, right to education, it talks about quality education for all. So it is extremely important to ensure quality education for all the children. Quality education, that is very important. But when we look at the dropout ratio in our schools are alarmingly high, and the dropout ratio is mainly among the backward students coming from backward sections. And it is worst, dropout ratio is again worst among children with special needs, special needs, children with disabilities. So, as we all know, we have got more than 50 lakh students in our country with special needs. I think it is extremely important to address this question. Unfortunately, even the new education policy, which talks lot many rhetorical statements about the global standards and all, does not even address this pertinent issue, important issue. And I think it is extremely important to address this issue, not only in the new education policy, but also in all the policies that the government makes to address the issue of the children with special needs.
The government also says that curriculum and textbooks have been adopted to ensure accessibility, and also the fact that teachers have also been sensitized.
Well, quality education for all means quality education for the children with special needs also. So accessibility is extremely important to ensure quality education. What is accessibility? Accessibility means that there should be accessibility on physical space. Accessibility is not only on physical space, access to physical space, but it includes access to information, access to technology, access to transport, access to services, access to aids, appliances, and so on. So accessibility, ensuring accessibility is extremely important. If we look at the 8th All India Education Survey, only 1.32% of our total students received training in inclusive education. Only 10% of the schools have got handrails. If you look at the infrastructure being provided in our schools, considering the disabled students, differently abled students, only 4% of our total schools have got adapted labs. Only 8% of our schools have got adapted toilets. So training of teachers with a view of inclusive education is extremely important. And additional funding that assumes extreme importance, and funding for infrastructure, provide infrastructure facilities for with disabled friendly infrastructure has to be provided, and transport facility, more support for the children from weaker sections, and it is again important for filling the teachers vacancies. We are witnessing that contract teachers are being appointed in various schools. Large number of students are working on contract basis. It is affecting the quality of our education. So when we are talking about accessibility, quality education for all children in our country, all these issues needs to be addressed. But unfortunately, sufficient funds are not being provided for education. Nowadays, only the amount which is being earmarked as cess is being used for education, and budgetary support on education is extremely low. And I can propose that the government of India has to follow the model set by the state of Kerala. I am proud to say that in all the schools in Kerala, all the schools are built, or all the facilities are provided in Kerala schools for all the children with special needs, by providing all facilities in classrooms, veranda, toilets, wherever these students are intervening, at all levels, supporting systems are being ensured. And also, special teachers are being appointed for providing special treatment to these students. Scholarships are being provided. Special assistance are being given during examination. Even graph, diagram, all these activities are being exempted for these students as per medical report. So the entire education policy in Kerala is being formulated with an inclusive policy of keeping in mind regarding the requirement of the students with special needs. And I am requesting the central government to draw lesson from the experience of Kerala and reformulate the draft education policy on the lines of the Kerala education policy, so that the education, the quality education which is supposed to be provided to the children of our country are being ensured with accessibility, access to all children within the relevant age group. Thank you.
Well, absolutely, sir. This is of paramount importance, but you joined us on the Question Hour show, gave us those details. Thank you so much for speaking to Rajya Sabha Television. Now let's take a look at the next question that was asked by member Ripun Bora, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. And Mr. Bora has asked the government about the steps taken by the government to stop accidents and to reduce fatality in road accidents.
Well, giving a detailed response, the ministry said it issues regulations to improve vehicle safety standards, undertakes site-specific interventions to address black spots, and also mobilize various activities to promote road safety, such as road safety advocacy and awareness programs. In addition to above, the initiatives of the ministry to promote road safety also include several other steps, namely issues of guidelines for protection of Good Samaritans, setting up of model driving training institutes in states, sanction of 24 inspection and certification centers for testing the fitness of commercial vehicles through an automated system, observance of Road Safety Week every calendar year for spreading awareness and strengthening road safety. Now, road safety has been made an integral part of road design at planning stage. The threshold for 4-laning of national highways has been reduced from 15,000 passenger car units to 10,000 passenger car units. Ministry has delegated powers to Regional Office of MORTH for technical approval to the detailed estimates for rectification of identified road accident black spots, for expediting the rectification process to ensure safety of road users. Also, guidelines for pedestrian facilities on national highways for persons with disabilities have also been issued to all states and union territories. And lastly, a certification course for road safety auditors has been commenced in Indian Academy of Highway Engineers and 42 auditors are certified for the same. Well, time for a very short break. More on the other side.
Watch India Fights Back with me, Vishal Dahiya, at 7:30 p.m. only on Rajya Sabha television.
देश के सभी नागरिकों के लिए वो सारी बातें मैं दोहरा रहा हूं और मैं कहता हूं कि आप भी याद रखिए और हर स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, सब जगह पे बताइए। देखिए क्या करना है। एक तो हमें बिना जरूरत के कहीं इकट्ठा होने से बचना होगा और दूसरा, हमें बार बार जितना हो सके अपने हाथ धोते रहना चाहिए और बराबर सफाई करनी चाहिए। अपने चेहरे को, अपने नाक और अपने मुंह को बार बार छूने की हमारी जो आदत है, अब थोड़ा उस आदत को बदलना होगा। जितना हो सके इस आदत को हमें कंट्रोल करना है और धुले हुए हाथों से ही अपने मुंह को टच करना चाहिए। जानकारों का कहना यह है कि ये खांसते या छींकते समय जो छींटे निकलते हैं, सांस के साथ ऐसे छोटे 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 बिंदु निकलते दिखते भी नहीं, उसमें जो भी संपर्क में आता है उसे ये फैलता है। ऐसे में जिस भी चीज पर ये छींटे गिरते हैं उसमें ये वायरस कई दिनों तक जीवित रह सकता है। इसलिए बार बार साबुन से हाथ धोना बहुत जरूरी है। एक और आदत हमें जरूर डालनी है। अगर खांसी और छींक हमें आती है तो कोशिश यही करनी है कि दूसरों पर इसके छींटे न पड़े और जो कपड़ा या रुमाल हमने छींकने के समय इस्तेमाल किया होता है उसे भी दूसरों के संपर्क में न आने दें।
Welcome back. You're watching Question Hour. Now, time for another question that was asked by member Vijay Goyal from Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. The member sought whether the government has been augmenting sports infrastructure for practice sessions and selected athletes and sports persons for competitive events and tournaments like Olympics.
While responding to this query, the government says that the available infrastructure for practice session of selected athletes or sports persons for the upcoming Olympics, that is enough to accommodate large number of athletes based on potential for excellence at international level. Now, 97 athletes are supported under Target Olympic Podium Scheme with individualized training, technical assistance as well as support. Adequate funds are available for Olympics under the existing scheme for Department of Sports such as National Sports Development Fund, assistance to National Sports Federation and also Khelo India. Funds are not earmarked for preparation of Olympics to the states. Now let's move on to the next question that was asked by member Sanjay Raut, and this question pertains to the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And member Raut has asked the government whether it is considering to identify the opportunities available to Indian companies, particularly for small and medium enterprises in the country to create more jobs. Now this question was asked in the last session of Parliament. After that, of course, we know there was this COVID-19 pandemic and the government has unveiled several steps to boost confidence in MSMEs in the country, including the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan that was launched by the government. But now let's take a look at what the government replied during that time.
Giving a detailed response to a very important query, the ministry said that the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises implements Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Program to promote employment generation. The ministry also implements various schemes to support micro, small and medium enterprises. These include micro and small enterprise cluster development programs, schemes for promotion of MSMEs in Northeastern region and Sikkim, tool rooms and technology centers, Mission Solar Charkha, scheme of funds for regeneration of traditional industries, procurement and marketing support schemes, entrepreneurship skill development program, credit guarantee scheme for micro and small enterprises, and credit-linked capital subsidy and technology upgradation scheme. Well, next question was asked by member R. Vaithalingam from Ministry of Jal Shakti. The member asked whether it's fact that 70% of small rivers in the country have dried up, whether it has also a fact that all river basins must have resource mapping and community-driven water harvesting and conservation structures must be created, and whether public participation is must for river conservation. This is a very important question given dearth of water and also primarily the drinking water across the country.
Well, this is a very elaborate reply given by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. And in the reply, the government says that there are two types of rivers in the country. These are perennial and non-perennial rivers. Perennial rivers are those rivers in which water remains available throughout the year, and non-perennial rivers are those rivers which are rain-fed rivers and in which water flows only during the rainfall period. Now, the flow in a river is a dynamic parameter and depends on many sub-parameters such as rainfall, its distribution, duration and intensity in the catchment, health of catchment area, vegetation and withdrawal or utilization of water. The government further says, while reports by some experts have expressed concern about reduction in water flow in rivers, the annual average flow data maintained by Central Water Commission or CWC for last 20 years for major important rivers in the country does not indicate any significant reduction in water availability. However, as per Central Water Commission, the per capita annual water availability in the country has progressively reduced due to increase in population, urbanization, improved lifestyle of people, etc. Now, public interaction programs are often being organized at the grassroots level for disseminating the tenets of the aquifer management plans for the benefit of all stakeholders. Water being state subject, initiatives on water management, including conservation and management of groundwater in the country, is primarily the responsibility of the state governments. The government further says that public participation is a very important component of water or river conservation or rejuvenation program. Under National River Conservation Plan Namami Gange program, financial assistance is provided to the participating states for undertaking water conservation, rejuvenation activities, including education and awareness among local people, students, stakeholders about the value, functions and ecological services of the rivers through awareness campaigns, through publication, pamphlets, video films, yatra, slogan, drawing, essay or even other competitions. And let's take a look at the last question of this edition of the Question Hour show that was asked by three members. Member Chaya Verma, Member Sukram Singh Yadav and also Member Vishambar Prasad Nishad. And this question pertains to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And these members have inquired whether it is a fact that use of reverse osmosis or RO that we generally use at our homes, these water purifiers has increased rapidly in small and big cities, and also the policy or the guidelines of the government regarding RO water purifiers.
Well, responding to a very important query, the ministry said that it has no such report available with the ministry. However, the growing awareness about waterborne disease have increased demand for water purifying system across the country. Now, reject generated by the reverse osmosis system or the RO system depends on the quality of water feed and the permeate. The reject quantity varies per litre of permeate depending on the size and purpose of the RO system. Ministry has prepared draft notification for regulation of RO-based water purification system with objective to conserve resources and promote environmentally sound management of discarded materials. And there is no such study report available with the ministry except some reference to public research papers.
So Rajat, these were the important questions and answers that we could collate for our viewers from the last session of Parliament.
Well, thank you for watching Rajya Sabha TV and keep watching our channel for more national and international news. Thank you.